Congressman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn.
Next, last Friday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced that the minimum milk price that processors pay to farmers for the month of July is up 17% from last month and 84% from last year. Why is this happening, you might ask? Well, let me take you back to the State of the Union address from last January.
Tonight, I ask Congress to join me in pursuing a great goal. Let us build on the work we've done and reduce gasoline usage in the United States by 20% in the next 10 years. To reach this goal, we must increase the supply of alternative fuels by setting a mandatory fuel standard to require 35 billion gallons of renewable and alternative fuels in 2017. And that is nearly 5 times the current target.
So here's the real story. Milk prices are rising because cows eat corn, and corn has doubled in price because ethanol was anointed the savior to our oil addiction problem. But here's a fact you're not going to hear in any State of the Union address. To reach the president's goal of replacing 20% of gasoline with ethanol, most of which would have to be corn-based, approximately 270,000 square miles of our country would have to be dedicated to growing corn and corn alone. To give you some idea, here's a new map of the United States. This is how much land it actually is. Yeah. New England, good luck, Godspeed. That's from Washington to Maine to Ohio. Ohio, I hate to do this to you, but we need the land. But it's nice to see that, it's a red state now. That's just the farmland, by the way. We probably need all of West Virginia just to park the stupid tractors. It is incredible when you actually look at this on how impractical this solution is. Quite honestly, if planting corn could actually get us off the Middle East teat, then I wouldn't care if milk cost $400 a gallon. I mean, cows aren't likely to strap suicide belts on and try to kill us. Well, PETA might actually disagree with that. But this is not the answer to our problem. Corn ethanol is not a practical solution. It's a political one. I don't mean to single out ethanol. I just like for once to make sure that we actually solve a problem the right way, the first time. Global warming is the same way. The government sees a problem. They see votes attached to it. Then they come up with solutions based on special interest money that end up causing more problems down the road. And then when we realize our mistake, it's too late. We haven't noticed yet that government-mandated anything just doesn't work. Where's the presidential candidate who really wants to get us off of foreign oil once and for all? The candidate that will stand up and say, I want to do a JFK moonshot-type program, and I'll fund it to find real solutions, not just politically expedient ones. We all know we need a new source of liquid fuel in this country. Nobody disputes that. But ethanol just is not it. Chris Horner is the author of the Politically Incorrect Guide to Global Warming and Environmentalism. Chris, milk, $4 a gallon. You blame this on corn?
I do, because I read the Washington Post, because where I live I can't get the Times delivered. And the Washington Post, in the article you cited, said most parties are corn's getting all the blame. And after the Glenn Beck show is over, I want everyone to switch over to C-SPAN and watch the replay of today's events in the Senate, where these large, novelty, oversized ears of corns come down and cast votes to provide all of this pork to not just farmers. It isn't just the farmers' fault. Chuck Grassley, the senior Republican senator on the Tax Writing Committee last week, said, I hope you're not going to blame the farmers. We're not. We're blaming the lawmakers who are succumbing to pressure from, yes, the farm lobby, but also big agribusiness like ADM. What in the world is ADM doing as such a massive political contributor, except that it relies almost exclusively, but greatly, on products that require massive political intervention, as you just described.
Okay, so a farm that big, I mean, this map is incredible. That's just farmland. That's not the houses and everything else. That's just the farmland.
Let's just remember something, Glenn. We know that weather is always stable. We know it's always predictable. And we know that severe weather and drought occur, right?
Right.
And what happens in case they do?
Yeah. Well, how do we grow the rest of the food that we need?
We don't. We import it because there simply is not enough land there to replace our dependence on the technology of the day, and we will remain in the fossil fuel age for some time. Bjorn Lomborg says we didn't leave the Stone Age because we ran out of stones. We won't leave the fossil fuel age because we run out of fossil fuels. If you want to reduce our dependence on foreign oil, A, stop drafting legislation with the groups that brought us dependence on foreign oil, the environmentalists, and B, reverse this course where we are the only nation in the world sitting on massive reserves of hydrocarbons, oil and gas, that that we refuse to tap because we are too pure. So we're going to then begin creating these convoluted government schemes like this, leading to, for example, of course, food inflation, fuel inflation, leading to housing price problems. This factors into whether or not the Fed tightens the money supply or loosens it, which this has economic implications beyond just the food inflation, and it has health impacts as well, and obesity impacts. This is not just pork.
Chris, I've only got about 15 seconds now. Farmer called the radio program today, said to me that I've sold corn for a lot more than it's being sold right now. What is the real reason why it's being jacked up now, and it wasn't, 10 years ago?
We're changing food crops into energy crops, and we have a finite number of acres of arable land, and we can clear 50 million acres minimum of forest if you want to replace a significant portion of oil with corn.
Can you imagine cutting down the forest, what the environmentalists would say then? Chris, thanks a lot. Up next, rock legend Ted